This is episode 2 of our new setup here. We were going to try something pretty interesting and cool with our format this week, but it didn't really work out, so we got some treats coming for you, for sure.
We got some treats. We got some cats.
Oh, let's see.
She wants to say hi. I might have to do this whole number. Look at this little baby.
Aw. Is she getting your headphones? Aw, that's adorable. Oh, no, your hand. That's adorable.
She will probably be in my lap the entire podcast, so if you hear purring or little screams, little kitty, she likes to scream. She's a screamer, this one is.
Aww.
This is Nadja. She is brand new. She is a baby.
Aww.
She just turned a year a couple days ago, so.
She cuddling.
Oh, yeah, she loves. She snugs.
That's awesome. Well, how are you this week, my friend?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty swell. We got a lot of gaming news to talk about today, so I'm glad we switched over our format to a more wide spectrum of things. Hi, Kitty Tail. Just smacking you in the face. But before we get into that, there was one movie-related thing I wanted to get to, which is that Spike Lee's The Five Bloods is out on Netflix now.
Oh, yeah, that came out.
I'm really interested.
Have you watched it?
No, I'm going to watch it when we get off of here. I'm super excited.
Yeah, I knew he had a new movie coming out like on Netflix, which with everything going with all the COVID and shit like that right now going on, like that's pretty much like the release spot.
Oh, Netflix is making bank right now, and Disney Plus with their new movies and all that. Like, I think they just released some movie that they were gonna put out theatrically. They just released it on Disney Plus, which is probably a good thing because from what I saw, the reviews weren't very good.
Was that Artemis Fowl?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember reading those books as a kid, and I was just like, it was another spoiled rich kid, and I was like, I'm not for it.
Yeah, it had like a 12% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and that was from the audience even. I think it was like 6% from critics. And apparently, like, if you liked the books growing up or you're a big fan of the books, you're going to be mad at the changes they made. And if you're like a newcomer who's never read anything or doesn't know anything about it, you're going to be super confused. So they just made it for no one.
For no one. Nobody asked for this, for the record.
Which is so funny because I talk all the time about the film critic that comes into our news station and talks about movies. And he praised the crap out of this movie. He was like, this is what it feels like to be watching a big summer blockbuster, and this is what I've been missing and all this stuff. And then I checked the reviews and I was like, really? This is what you were missing?
Maybe you should reconsider.
You would think. That's funny. Okay, so let's jump into some gaming news. We got a week until The Last of Us. Reviews dropped today. So have you read any reviews? Are you kind of keeping away from that to keep the surprise?
I'm like very much so keeping away from it because like I fully plan on downloading it and then jumping in as soon as I can to the game. I'm really excited about it. I'm going to just go in blind as possible. What about you? Have you read any of the reviews or?
I have not read any of the reviews. I'm trying to keep as much secret as possible, but I did look at the scores on a lot of them, and it's looking okay.
What is it in comparison to the first one? Do you know?
I don't remember what the first one scored offhand, but it's got to be on par with the first one.
That's impressive because like the first one was like one of the most renowned games for the PlayStation 3.
Yeah. I don't think this is going to be a game you go into for a lot of fun. I think it's going to be pretty depressing, but I'm excited for it.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, like with if the first one told us anything, like it's so like emotionally heavy, and it's definitely very cinematic and beautiful. But I'm gonna guess like I think it's probably one of the more realistic zombie games that's out there, for sure.
I would think so too. I love what they do with the characters too. Like there are no good and evil. It's just people trying to survive. You can like sympathize with Ellie and Joel because you spend so much time with them and they're just trying to keep each other alive. But at the same time, I can see where everybody else is coming from, and I could see why everybody would hate them after what happened in the last game, and I think that's going to be an interesting sequel.
I'm gonna I need to go back and replay it
Hmm.
because it's been about a year since I played it last.
Yeah.
So obviously, like I remember bits and pieces and whatnot. I got the main gist, but like obviously, like there's some big chunks of time like missing there, and like
Hmm.
because you just recently like replayed it, didn't you?
Yeah, it was about a month ago, I think. I played the main game and the like prequel, the Left Behind thing. Have you played that?
No, I didn't know that was a thing, Curtis.
Yeah, it was. It came around a couple years after The Last of Us, I think, and it's Ellie when she was a little bit younger and her friend and like the story they went through.
How much younger was she gonna get?
It was probably a couple months or something,
Okay.
but yeah, it was like Ellie's story before she met up with Joel.
Oh, that has to be really interesting and very sad. Very,
Yeah,
very, very sad.
yeah, and it weaves into um the game because it takes place like Ellie's looking back on it as she's taking care of Joel after he gets hurt, like right before she gets taken by the creeper dudes and all that stuff. So it's interesting. It's pretty good.
I'll have to check that out for sure.
Yeah, if you have it on PlayStation, you should have it like be
Access
able to
to
play
it.
it. Yeah,
Sweet, sweet, sweet.
so
Yeah, I'll definitely
definitely
check
something
that
to
out.
check out. Anything else you wanted to mention there?
Nah,
Cool. So
obviously
yeah.
there's a lot of hype, and that's like the big game that's coming out like this month for sure.
Oh yeah, that's coming out. SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom is coming out. The remaster.
I heard that it's like legit. So I'm
Yeah,
like debating on like investing a little bit of money into it because I'm like,
I remember playing that as a kid and I liked it. I don't know how it would age, but it's SpongeBob. It's early SpongeBob. It'd probably be great.
oh my god, like there was a couple like really good SpongeBob games, like the SpongeBob SquarePants movie game, like that
Hmm.
one was incredible.
Yeah.
Um, I was dumb and I sold them back to GameStop whenever I hit a certain age because I'm an idiot.
Yep. We all
Uh,
made that mistake.
like if I could go back in time and smack my younger self in the face, I would.
If I could turn back time.
Like I had so many cool like GameCube games and like I was like, I'm 12 now. I'll never play these SpongeBob games again.
Did my color just change or something?
Yeah, it did.
What just happened?
I.
Is
You're
it back now?
blue. Yeah,
That was so weird.
you got blue there for a second. You just
Oh,
like
dude.
got
That's
smurfed.
hilarious. I got smurfed for sure. Oh man, but yeah, I definitely agree. Like, there's a lot coming out, but The Last of Us is probably going to be game of the year if it's up to that quality and up to what everybody's saying.
Do you think it's gonna be that or Ghost of Tsushima?
That's a good question. Like, Ghost of Tsushima could be great. It could be okay. Like, we just don't know because they haven't said a lot about it yet. I guess we'll have to find that one out once it actually comes out. We have kind of a precedent for The Last of Us. We know what to expect
Right.
going in. Ghost of Tsushima, we're kind of going in blind. So I think next month after that comes out, I'll have a better perspective on that.
Okay, so here's my next question. I don't think this is possible, or I don't think this is like technically allowed. But
Uh-huh.
I haven't gotten to play it yet. I've been playing Persona 5 instead. My sister just let me borrow that one.
Nice.
But I did just get Final Fantasy VII the remake.
Mm,
I keep hearing like really, really, really good things about it, and obviously like it's a game that takes like hours upon hours upon hours.
right.
Is that possible for even though that's a remake for that to be the game of the year, or
Yeah,
does it have to be?
absolutely. Because it's totally its own thing. It's not like just an upgrade. It's not a like a remaster or anything. It's its own game. Like the story is totally different. So yeah, it could definitely be game of the year.
Because PlayStation's coming out with like a lot. And while we're on PlayStation, we have to talk about the reveal that happened this week.
Yeah, they dropped a lot, man. Like 20 something games. We finally saw what the console looks like. We'll get to that later. But yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Don't worry. We got a lot to talk about there. But yeah, they started off. blowing my mind. Like, as soon as this live stream started, immediately went to the new Spider-Man game, which is Miles Morales.
Oh
Like,
my god.
if I was not sold on a PlayStation already, you got me. Like, as a Spider-Man fan, yes, please.
That was like, honestly, I was definitely an Xbox fan, and then I absolutely like was completely on board because I think, yeah, I got my PlayStation a little bit before, a little bit after the Spider-Man game came out.
Yeah,
Changed my life.
I remember that because you got Spider-Man, and I was like, dude, you don't even know what you're in for. And then you were
Yeah,
just texting me about how great it was.
that it. I wasn't sure what to expect. Like I knew, like I had heard everybody like, oh, it's so great. But like, there's definitely been games that like everybody's like, ah, it's so great. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
No,
But
Spider-Man was great.
yeah, we talked about it a little bit on our End of the Spider-Verse episode, but yeah, we just had to reiterate now that we're getting this update. The one interesting thing, I don't know what this is going to be exactly because I assumed it was going to be kind of like a spin-off, like what Just Cause I think did a couple spin-off games, or like Far Cry, where it's like in the same universe but like a side character kind of thing.
Yeah,
And then this morning I read that it was going to be an add-on to a remaster of Spider-Man for PS4. They were just going to release it on PS5 and include the Miles Morales stuff. But then Insomniac, the company that's making the game, tweeted that it's going to be its own standalone experience. So it's going to be its own game. I don't know how big it's going to be, or if it's. I don't think it's going to be a direct sequel, but we'll see what it ends up being. But we got a Miles Morales game coming, and that's exciting news.
just from like the minute 32-minute clip that they released, like I was already like, take my money.
Yeah, exactly.
Just take my money. Like I'm all on board. If anything, like that just makes me want to get the PlayStation 5 when it actually releases instead of waiting like the 1 to 3 years that I normally do whenever a console releases.
Right, yeah.
So that begs the question, like, are you also going to try and get it like when it releases?
Oh yeah, I definitely am. This is the one time I'm actually going to get a console at launch. I talked to Katie, we worked it out. We kind of like figured it out and budgeted for everything, and we got it worked out to where I can go ahead and get a PlayStation. And that reveal just got me so much more excited.
I didn't get the actual drop date. Is it like Black Friday as well? Like it normally like November?
They haven't said yet. They just say holiday. I don't think
That's what
they've
I thought.
settled. It seems like for launch and like price, Sony and Microsoft are like in a game of chicken. Nobody wants to announce because then the other company can come down and like one up them, come out earlier and be cheaper or something like that.
Right.
So they're kind of in a standoff right now. It seems like.
You know, I haven't actually. So, like, obviously, like you and I are both like big PlayStation fans. I
Mm,
have not like. I've heard about the Xbox Series X. I have
mm,
not seen it. I have not seen any exclusives. I know that they're gonna finish the Halo trilogy.
mm-hmm,
Because they released 5, and I heard they're gonna release a 6 and potentially a 7 as well, finishing that arc.
mm-hmm.
Um, but I haven't really heard anything else at all.
Have you seen the console?
No, actually,
Let me pull this up. I'm
I
gonna
saw.
screen share.
I definitely saw the PlayStation 5 though.
Yes, I cannot wait to talk about that one.
Oh my god.
But check this out. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go back. Look at this thing. It looks like a mini fridge.
That it looks like because like obviously like it just looks like kind of like a rectangle like and I can't even they
Putting the
like
box in Xbox.
they really didn't like do anything that extra or like innovative. Like
Right.
it just looks like they're like, let's take our design and make it into a rectangle instead of a console box. And let's keep the controller the exact same and bulky as shit. And
I'm not,
clunky.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like back when like the original Xbox 360 was coming out, like that controller was nice. It fit in your hand perfectly,
Yeah.
but like I want more innovation now. Like the Xbox One controller, I'm just like, yeah, this is kind of the same.
Okay, so I was actually going to talk about this. I feel like now's just a good time to just go ahead and get this underway since we're on this topic. Um, so one of the biggest issues I have with Xbox is actually the controller.
Hmm.
I feel like the controller, there's no fluidity to your
Hmm.
joysticks whatsoever. It's very clunky.
Yeah.
It's very heavy, and like when it sits in my hands, like it's very like rigid,
Hmm.
and it doesn't feel natural. Like
You have one thumb up here and one thumb down here, and it's just an awkward like PlayStation. Your thumbs are here, you're good to go.
and this was my next point, and this is my biggest complaint, at least from what I can see of the PlayStation.
Hmm.
Like, okay, the design's kind of weird, like I get that, but it looks like with the controller, it looks more like an Xbox controller, which is what I'm concerned about because the thing that I like the most about PlayStation is like for like the controller,
Hmm.
it fits in my hand perfectly. It's very lightweight. It's very easy and just like straight up like fluid. Like it doesn't feel like I'm having to like I don't know force a motion. Yeah,
Right.
like it. It still looks like a PlayStation controller, but it looks a little bit more flared out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The handles look wider. It's like back when they were doing the PS4, I think they wanted to do like this boomerang design, or maybe it was the PS3. I think it was the PS3, like this boomerang design for the
Yeah,
controller, and this is kind of what that looks like. Like they're going back to that kind of idea.
we'll
I get what
see.
you're saying for sure. It's a lot more
Yeah,
body. Like the
yeah.
PlayStation 4 controller is like you're pretty close to the buttons, whereas this has more body to it. And
We'll
how about
see.
that console itself?
It reminds me of Eve from Wally,
It really does, like with a popped collar.
or like you sent me a text message earlier and said a like a Wi-Fi router, which is actually like
Looks like
what
a
they're going
Wi-Fi
for.
router.
Which is
Yeah.
what they're going for because like you have two different versions. You have one that's basically your standard version that comes with your, as you can see on the screen here, your disc slot right there. But then you
Hmm.
also have a completely digital version as
Hmm.
well, where everything is just like either bought online and downloaded, or yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yep,
Which is
that's
interesting.
your option.
Yeah,
Yeah, which is good because then you can buy a cheaper version. I would think. Like, I don't think the price would be the same for both consoles. I think you'd pay more for the disc
for the
drive. Yeah, but if
really
you have a no for the disc drive because then you got this extra piece of equipment here for like with it, you know.
that makes sense.
Um, and that's also how they could get PS4 players to upgrade to the higher model because if they have backwards compatibility, you're going to need that disc drive to play your PS4 games.
I guess. Well, I guess with the digital version though, like I already have a lot of digital games like on my
Hmm.
PlayStation, so they
Right.
should just transfer over, right?
Yeah,
They
in
have,
theory, those would if it's
yeah,
backwards compatible. But any disc that you have, you would need
the
the
disc
upgrade,
drive,
the disc one. Yep.
and that was like my only complaint about PlayStation for years was like the lack of backwards compatibility because like
Hmm.
I know they just remastered, like they have this tendency to just like remaster games and whatnot,
Yeah.
but like I I don't know about you, but like there's just something different. Like I love Spyro,
Mhm.
and the remastered is great, but I want to play the original Spyro.
Right. Yeah.
I love the remaster.
I want the real Spyro.
Show me the real Spyro. I said the real Spyro. Perfection.
As a Resident Evil fan, I totally understand that they keep porting all these games to all the different consoles.
Yup. Oh, which begs my next question, which like I'm sure you saw on our little doc there.
Mhm.
Okay, first question, did you see the trailer for Resident Evil 8?
Of course I did. I was texting Angie last night about it. Our good friend Angie, we are we have this like 3-person group where we just talk about Resident Evil all the time.
I'm honestly surprised you guys didn't like put me in that conversation. Which begs my next question, like how do you feel about it?
It's interesting because the Resident Evil series never really knows what it wants to be. It's always branching out. Like every installment's trying something different, and there's no like cohesive feel to it. But I don't know how I feel about like the cabin and village feel to it. There were a lot of leaks about like the story and what it would be, and it was pretty on par with that, and everybody was really worried. Angie and I were like, please let that not be the case. And then we saw the werewolf, and we were like, yeah, this is happening. So from
Okay,
what I
I
read,
didn't
there's going to be like werewolves and witches and all these like crazy things, and I just don't know how to feel about that. That feels like a different franchise. It's like coming in on Resident Evil.
I was about to ask, I was like, so like what did you read? Because like I just saw the trailer for it.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it looked like it was kind of trying to mimic parts of 4
Mm-hmm. Right.
unsuccessfully.
Yeah, that's what I got from like reading the leaks too. Like they were going for that early, like with the villagers and stuff, but there's all this supernatural like elements going on, like the werewolves and witches, and it just sounds weird. I mean, I'll play it obviously, but I don't have very high hopes.
But I'm not spending $60 on that Capcom. Just for the record, like really?
Says the guy that spent like 20 hours on a 4-hour game.
Okay, most of that time was idle time where I like just left my console running to go eat or go wherever.
Oh, rookie move.
I know. I didn't realize that. Now we've learned. Now we have learned to not leave it on the save screen to get run and do other things.
Yeah, that's hilarious. But no, it'll be interesting. Comes out next year. I'll play it. I'll have the PlayStation already, so why not? What about
Right.
you?
I didn't play Biohazard. Did you play Biohazard?
I tried it. Wasn't really for me.
It
I'm gonna try it again.
okay. Is it okay? Is it to my understanding that this is a continuation of that one?
It
Kind
seems
of
like it. Yeah, which is weird because Chris like showed up in that trailer and he looks nothing like he did in
6.
7.
Oh, he was in 7 too?
Biohazard. Yeah,
Is that just the only reoccurring character like in these games? Is just Chris Redfield pretty much?
he's definitely the most popular, but they all do like show up and bounce around. Yeah.
Like what is even happening in this universe?
I have no clue. Like, I guess maybe playing Biohazard would help a little bit, but I don't know at this point.
I mean, I meant just as a whole, like we start out with like a zombie outbreak that
Hmm.
starts in a mansion,
Right.
goes to Raccoon City,
Hmm.
stays in Raccoon City, and honestly, like 2 and 3 are the only mildly consistent ones. And then
Hmm.
all of a sudden, we end up in like fucking Spain
Spain.
with a plague that looks nothing like the zombies.
Hmm.
And then we end up in Africa in 5.
Yep.
I don't even know what's happening in 6. Like, and then 7 is a first-person shooter.
Yeah. There's no consistency. They're just trying all these different things. I don't know. I I want to try 7 again. I'm not a big fan of like first person horror games, and like I don't know, just playing Resident Evil in first person was really off putting. But I will try it again just because they're gonna continue to go that route, I guess.
It kind of reminds me of I don't know, and I feel like Evil Within did a pretty good job of it.
Hmm.
If I remember correctly, that is a first-person FPS horror game. If I remember correctly, I could be totally wrong. It could be third person. It's been
I
a
think
long, long time since I played that one.
that might be third person because I like that
Yeah,
one a lot.
it was really good.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Even if it was first person, that was a great game.
Yeah, like it did horror very, very well.
Mm.
Um, I think that arguably was like one of the best uh, horror games that has came out in a very long time. Which
Mhm.
brings me to my next. Uh, did you see the preview for Returnal on
Mm.
PlayStation?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which one was that again?
That one was the one. It's it kind of it's kind of like Edge of Tomorrow.
The Loop.
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
where every single time you die, you get like a new environment in the game, and it's
Mhm.
like set up completely differently.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that one?
I'd honestly have to see more. It looks interesting, but
Okay,
like, I don't know. What were you thinking?
I was thinking it reminds me of. Okay, first of all, like if I do play it, I already die a lot. So honestly, I will probably go through every single environment in
Yeah.
that game multiple times. Try me.
You underestimate how terrible we are at video games, PlayStation.
You underestimate my death to kill ratio greatly. Because it is not good, folks. It is not good.
I think eventually we're gonna try to stream on this channel, and you're gonna see how bad both of us are at video games, and it's gonna be hilarious.
Honestly, like the only video game I'm like actually like I can like brag about is Spyro because like I'm pretty badass at Spyro.
Yeah, Spyro.
That's it. That's all I got.
There you go, man. That's all you need.
I feel like Kurt's pretty good at Resident Evil for sure.
Once I get a couple run throughs in.
And then I feel like there's another game you're like weirdly like really good about, but you're like such a humble human being that you just don't want to like
I don't know what that would be. um, yeah, I don't know. What else did they announce? Oh, Horizon Forbidden West. Of course, you're gonna love that one. I never finished the first one, but I know you absolutely loved it.
I loved it. I was so like I'm pretty close to the end. I like let a friend borrow it. I just need to go get it back to finish it.
Mm.
I was just like at this weird point where I had to like level up like 3 to 5 more levels, I think, before I could fight do the next quest, and I just got like stuck and put it down for a while, like most games.
The struggle is real.
The struggle, yeah. If you can keep my attention during with a video game, like you have won a
Right.
a prize.
Exactly. If I manage to make it to the credits of a game, I know it was good because I always like get caught somewhere and I just give up.
I'm like, yep. I'll come back to this later. I'm like, do I really feel like trying to maneuver this horrible, horrible maze right now, or like, or getting slaughtered? No, I'm good. Which is impressive because I finished Resident Evil 2, 3, and 4 so far.
Yeah.
That's
You're
real
on a roll, my
impressive.
friend.
That's real impressive, Kurt. My times were terrible,
But you finished.
but I finished.
It's not a race, it's just about the journey.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm glad you're enjoying those games as much as Angie and I because for a while it was just the two of us going back and forth about Resident Evil and we needed a third voice in there.
You needed a new, fresh,
And it's
fresh.
great to like share your first experience too, like as people who have played all the games multiple times, like having somebody go through it for the first time and realizing how absurd that series is so fun.
Oh my god, yeah. Like the only experience I'd ever had with like Resident Evil before that was I think. Oh my god, I remember as probably like a 10-year-old kid whenever I had my um GameCube. I remember renting Resident Evil 4 for like a very, very brief moment. And I remember, you're going to laugh at me with this. I remember literally getting stuck at that first mission when you walk into the cabin and like the whole concept of like aiming and like standing still. So I died so many times, and like it took so long to load, and I had to go back through that cutscene. So I just like was like, no, I'm done with this.
You didn't even get into the actual game.
That was it for me. My 10-year-old self was like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore, guys.
At 10, you did not understand the concept of tank controls.
No. Do you know how long it took me to get those damn tank controls, like, playing this time, too? Like, not as long, granted. Also, like, going back and forth between Resident Evil 4 and Doom Eternal was very bizarre. I do not recommend trying that.
Polar opposites. One game is you can't move and shoot, and the other one is moving all the time.
I cannot tell you the amount of times I died whenever I try and go pick back up Doom Eternal. My death ratio is probably off. Like, and every single time, like, I'll put that game down for a little bit. Eventually, I'll get through it. It's one of those games, you know. I'll pick it back up, and I immediately, like, just die, like, 4 times in a row. Just, like, immediately. Like, it's just one of those games for me where, like...
And then you just rage quit all over again.
I don't even rage.
That's why I quit this game.
I don't even rage. I just, like, I'm like... Do I feel like dying 4 times in a row just to get my stride back? I'm like, yeah, I think I'm good.
So the real question is, how many times are we going to die playing The Last of Us 2?
You know what? I didn't die that many times in the first one.
The first one? Yeah?
I think I died under 10 times, like, in total.
There you go.
I powered through that one in 3 days.
Dang.
Yeah, the storyline's, like, really good. It was really, like, and I had the time to play it, too. Which is my only problem with this one coming out in June. Because it's summer, and I don't want to stay indoors very often.
Right. I feel that. I already told Katie, because she is going through a transition at work. She's changing jobs.
And... Yay!
Yep.
Congratulations, Katie, you beautiful human being.
Yeah. Yes. So we're both really excited. But her last day at her current job is going to be the Friday this comes out. And I was like, just so you know, I'm going to be lost in this world for a while. I'm sorry. Like, I have to get through it as fast as possible so I don't get spoiled.
Yeah.
So I hope Katie enjoys watching me die playing this video game. I never make her watch me play video games, but she's going to watch me die a lot when I play this game.
Oh, Katie, you're in for a treat. You're in for a big treat. Was there anything else that we needed to touch on this week? Because honestly, like...
I was just going to ask what game you were most excited for from the PS5 launch.
For me personally, there's a lot that looks like really cool in there. Obviously, like, I'm really excited for Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big one that, like, really is selling me. I do love Horizon Zero Dawn. Honestly, though, like, if Returnal is any good or as good as it actually looks, that one may actually take the cake. Depending on what happens with it, where it goes, like...
I really thought you were going to say Feral.
Stray?
Or Stray, yeah. Sorry.
Oh, that one looks so cool.
Dope.
Yeah.
You get to play as a cat with a backpack in a world full of robots.
Like, humanity has died, and, like, you get to play as, like, a cat. Like, I love cats. Awesome.
But yes, I do agree. Returnal looks interesting. I want to see more about it, for sure. Obviously, mine is Spider-Man. Like, no questions asked. That got me ready to go. But I think it's time for us to acknowledge the true winner of the announcements from yesterday. Let me just share my screen here. We're going to watch the most wonderful trailer ever created.
I know exactly. Yes.
I don't know if audio is going to work.
It's okay. We can commentate on it while it's going.
dude straight out of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Can we talk about how they straight up look like they have like googly eyes? Like somebody like actually just put like googly eyes like on their little strawberry faces.
Right. It's kind of adorable. That guy's terrifying. I'm gonna have nightmares about this walrus park ranger guy. And
Wait
then
for it.
It goes from
Blue.
not the chance of meatballs to annihilation real quick.
It has been integrated into his DNA.
Also, how dare they drop this catchy ass tune and then just leave?
Right. And like this is I know that like these producers or whatever, this studio that made this is actually like completely like student ran, that did Octodad. It's the same company that did them. So I think that's like really cool and like really interesting. And yeah, like these graphics like aren't necessarily what somebody would say is up to par with the rest of the PlayStation games, but like that's just so cool that there's like straight up like a student ran studio that's putting out video games like professionally.
Right, absolutely. And just getting creative and not afraid to like just try things out. I love it. And it works for PlayStation too because they're launching during Christmas time, the holiday season, so it'll be nice to have some like good friendly kid games to play, and this definitely looks like it's up that alley. Even though that looks terrifying.
Honestly, like I would probably. Would you actually buy it and play it?
I would try it. Yeah, I don't know if I would pay a full $60 for it, but I would try it.
Honestly, I don't foresee that one being 60. I could see that one like launching at like 20.
Yeah. Somewhere around there. I would try it, depending on what the actual gameplay is like, but it's an interesting concept. I like the cinnamon roll slug and the weedy hands.
Oh my god. Cloudy's a chance of meatballs.
Just had to drop that tune on us and leave, and just now we're stuck with it until that game comes out. Bug snacks.
Good old bug snacks.
That's funny. So yeah, that's all I wanted to touch on for this week. Did you have anything else, my friend?
Nah, man. I think we're all good. All gravy over here.
Awesome. It's been another fun week.
It's been a pleasure, my friend.
Next week, we're going to try to possibly stream The Last of Us. I think I'll definitely go back and like stream some stuff I've already played. I don't want to like be focused on streaming while I'm playing the story and stuff, but I'll definitely go back and like replay some chapters, and I think that'll be fun.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, everybody, it's been a wonderful, wonderful time. Yep. Thank you for watching our beautiful podcast.
It's beautiful, just like my friend Nick over there.